Soil health. It's a term we hear everywhere. Regenerative, carbon neutral, climate smart. But what does it mean when you're out in the field and making decisions? In this edition, I'll highlight an article that I wrote about where soil health testing is at right now, why it's still a bit of a wild west, and how mapping tools like electrical conductivity and gamma ray spectrometry are, in my opinion, the first step in helping to determine the health of your soil. So in case you're new here, let me introduce myself. My name is Scott Gillespie, and I'm an Alberta-based author, podcaster, and independent agronomy consultant that focuses on realistic regen ag. I provide advice-only agronomic services to my farm clients, offering unbiased recommendations free from product sales. In this podcast, I share science-based practices that promote environmental stewardship and farm profitability. So there's actually many ways to take in this material. You can read it on my email newsletter. You can read it on my LinkedIn newsletter. You can watch a YouTube video, or you can be listening to it on a podcast player of your choice. So mapping soil health. Soil health has been front and center in ag for a while now. But when it comes to making real-world decisions, good intentions just don't cut it. We need hard data. The challenge is that soil health testing is still in the Wild West stage. Labs are offering all kinds of tests. Most of them are proprietary with little to no peer-reviewed data, and the results don't always translate into clear management decisions. Now, the Soil Health Institute has worked on this for nearly a decade, and they're recommending a minimum suite of 3 indicators. So it's organic carbon, carbon mineralization potential, and aggregate stability. Now, those 3 give us a better insight into nutrient cycling, structure, and resilience. Those tests aren't widely available yet, but until they are, I think the first step is in using the mapping tools that help us to understand soil variability. Electrical conductivity mapping shows us the texture and salinity across the field, and gamma ray spectrometry can identify soil types and mineral patterns. Both give us a clearer picture of where the strengths and weaknesses are. So why am I talking about mapping as the first step? Well, it's because soil health isn't just about biology. It's about topography, texture, compaction, water availability. So getting the house in order so that the microbes have a place to thrive is the first step. So I encourage you to read the full story by going to the transcript, which is posted in the episode description, and that just directly links to my website so that it's all just in one spot. And while highlighting my own article, I have a few others that I want to highlight that go off of the same theme of soil health. The first one is called Soil Health Skepticism Prevalent. So at the Soils of Our Future conference in Winnipeg this summer, researchers from the University of Calgary shared results from a national survey of farmers on soil health. What they found is pretty telling. Here in the prairies, the idea of soil health is often met with skepticism and even outright rejection. Many farmers see it as a buzzword or top-down policy push. Cover crops are the classic example. Governments push them hard, but prairie producers keep saying moisture and season length is too limiting for it to make sense. And they're right. I think this gets to why mapping and measurement are so valuable. If we can connect soil health back to things that producers already know, like sandy knolls, saline draws, erosion, it stops becoming an abstract fad and becomes a practical tool. Now, as Dr. Jeff Shano pointed out, we've been measuring soil quality for decades. So organic matter, nitrogen supply, aggregation, infiltration, it's just soil health indicators by another name. So rather than dismiss the idea or accept it blindly, the opportunity is to ground soil health in site-specific decisions. That's what the mapping tools I mentioned earlier can help us do. First, you can start using the maps for variable rate fertilizer, and then you can move them into soil health measures. The next article is how farms can cut expenses. Now, economics drive decisions. In a recent interview, I was talking about how when supply chains get tight or cash flow is limited, the best thing you can do is leverage your data. If you know your fields, you can prioritize where the inputs will give you the most return and which acres maybe don't need to be pushed so hard. That's where it all comes together. A lot of prairie farmers hear soil health and just think it's another policy buzzword. But if we ground it in data, Mapping texture, salinity, productivity zones, suddenly it's not abstract anymore. It's not Ottawa telling you what to do. It's your own field guiding where to spend, where to save, and maybe give the land a soil health break with a cover crop or perennial phase. And finally, regenerative farming gains ground in Manitoba amid drought challenges. As I wrap up, I want to leave you with a picture that really stuck with me. The Western producer reported on 2 alfalfa fields in Manitoba, just a half a mile apart. The same soil, same drought year. One was regeneratively managed and stood about 18 inches tall. The other, farmed conventionally, was only 6. That contrast speaks volumes. Regenerative ag gets a lot of hype, and yes, it's backed by policymakers, industry, and some big-name companies. But when you hear farmers talk about longer grazing seasons and fewer inputs, it's clear there's something real happening on the ground. Now, this won't work for everyone because it's based on grazing systems, but still, it shows there's something there. And of course, if it doesn't rain, both systems will suffer after a couple years of drought. However, the regenerative system should be able to take in a sudden thunderstorm better than the one that is conventionally managed. So thanks for your attention. If something resonated, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Also, sharing this on your social networks, whether a post to a small group of your friends, colleagues, or clients, is very much appreciated. You can also support me by picking up my book, Practical Regeneration, or reaching out for agronomy support. All the information can be found on my website, www.plantsdigsoil.com. So here's to growing more, believing less, and always digging a little deeper.